we are, heaven. One quick picture frame of a slice of heaven. God's world. Oh man. Quite the day. Quite the past few days. Oh. Got my personal locator ripping away so Sarah can track me. Make sure I'm still kicking. Just checking out the inReach, and the distance travel now is about just under 2 miles that way up this mountain, back in the timber. I just busted out of the timber. It's starting to rain now. Drizzle, showers, and ran into a big bull moose. Pretty good sized bull moose in there. I got about 10 yards away. I finally found my phone in one of my pockets, got it out, got a quick little video. I'll share a quick little video of him. I'll share him here with you. Oh. 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 What else? Hope you guys enjoyed the fish video. I took yesterday. Actually, I was across that valley down the bottom of this creek, and it's just such an awesome little scene. The sun was just peeking through, no wind, and peaceful and quiet. So, and I had a GoPro in the backpack as usual, so I put the GoPro underwater. I got lucky, and I got some real good video of those little guys. Like landlocked kokanee salmon, kind of like a sockeye salmon. Oh man, I have been getting my butt kicked this go around. Crazy. Woods pretty quiet. Called in a big moose today. But the elk are staying hidden, and they're not talking. Just some big hikes. And hiked a couple miles up the mountain in the timber. It's pretty cool. And then I came out and busted out into the open and had that huge epic backdrop behind me, and I thought, all right, this is a great place to share this scene. And then I just started recording. I noticed fog in the lens on my Canon camera, and I guess it was damp in my backpack and started fogging up. I'm like, ah, shit. So I'm back at camp now, switched up cameras, regrouping, and contemplating my next move. I was hoping to get a great big bull, is what I'm after. We'll see. It's not going to make or break if I get one or not, but I'm just doing what I love, you know? So I think what I might do this evening, I might drive way away to one of my favorite deer hunting spots, take a hike in there and throw out some game cameras for this November, see if there's any elk running around in there. That's where Sarah got her first elk last year. And then, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I just might even pack up and head her home tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. But I learned a lot of new country. I saw a lot of new sights, which I love. I love just walking through forests I've never been in before. Climbing a mountain, running around on the side of a mountain, whatever. It's good. It's healthy. Grounds me. Clears my brain. But anyway, where was I? Before my lens fogged up on the hill. It's going to get some voices shared. Show you guys that moose right now that I called in. And I'll have my little, take an hour out to sit down and give my body a bit of a rest. Now, what do we got? Fresh out of the frying pan. It's kind of cool having the internet out in the middle of nowhere here. It's crazy having that Starlink, I'll tell you what. Hey Steve, this is in response to your video that aired on the 1st. Please bear with me for a minute, because this may get lengthy. All my life I've known things without any explanation as to why. Many times I've avoided things that I otherwise wouldn't have. You call it your gut reaction, but I've come to suspect in my case it's something a bit more. I've always had an ability to read people like a book. I've said I'm a scary good judge of character, but people who know me say it's something more. I've been accused of being an empath. Only thing I can say is whatever you call it, it's served me well and I'll take it. Now this has never been something I can do at will, but when I feel it, I feel it. I recently felt it and two things jumped right out. I recently felt it and two things jumped out right off. First off, it was very powerful. And second, I've never felt this from a YouTube video that's many thousands of miles away. That response you received to you, Moose Call, hit me like a lightning bolt. Be careful, brother, this isn't a good thing. I've been in moose country, and while that noise could be mistaken for a moose, it definitely was not, and something made me feel it wasn't a good thing. Be careful, brother, as I'm sure you're aware, there's nobody coming to save you. I know you're an alpha, and being alone in the woods doesn't scare you, even when it should. Anyway, brother, one eye on the horizon and watch your top knot. If you share this, please keep my name out of it. Thanks. Okay. Appreciate the heads up. That's kind of odd to get a feeling like that from a YouTube video, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. I guess it is what it is. Whatever that was, if it was nefarious by nature, it probably would have had my ass, right? It had me if it felt like it, if it was something like that. I don't know. Where's my lens wiper? Oh, well, I can read through those suckers. You know, sometimes I have things happen in the woods, and I don't even mention it here, because I don't want to be that guy, you know? I'm not that guy. I'm not overly nervous or scared, and I don't think every bump in the woods is something crazy, but I will be honest, today when I was hiking out through that timber today, I'd never been up on that hill before, and I was going deeper into the darker spruce thickets on the north sides of the slopes, hopefully to get into the bedding area, and something growled at me in there. I don't know what it was, but I got growled at. It's like a roar. Probably grizzly bear. It was real thick. But anyway, I abruptly turned around and went the opposite direction. Real thick, like real thick in there. I didn't need to be having a gunfight with something in there, but I left. I got growled at today. I can't remember that ever happening before, getting growled. I've heard a grizzly bear roar sort of one time when we were circling around a big bait pile. Well, not bait pile, but it's a big boneyard behind a ranch. But anyway, appreciate that email, man. Appreciate it. Keep me posted on your feelings. I'm curious to hear that. Hear those feelings, from people for sure. All right, this is titled Our Sixth Sense. Steve, this is my story. Not from a skeptic, but from a man who's always been open-minded about the unknown. Knowledge is power. And even though I'm a 58-year-old college-educated man, common sense trumps everything academic in my opinion. I agree. A little about my background. I was born and raised in the South and come from a military family. All the males in my family have served in defense of my nation that I call home. The majority of my life I have carried a gun in defense of homeland, either in the military, law enforcement, and lastly as an armed defense contractor in Afghanistan, circa 2012-2013. I was raised by a family that instilled in me to always treat others the way I wanted to be treated, and always be open-minded because, again, knowledge is power. In my career, I've had many close calls, and I feel like I've cheated death on several occasions. No doubt. It's the fortunate nature of the beast when your job is to defend others that can't defend themselves, and or in defense of the United States. I've lost several close friends I call brothers, and once you experience loss like that, it permanently leaves a mark on your soul like a tattoo, and you never take for granted the value of life. Whew, no doubt. The vast majority of my professional career was either spent in an undercover capacity as a narcotics detective, a professionally trained sniper, and lastly, a SOF targeting officer attached to Coalition Special Operations Forces in Regional Command South, Afghanistan, as a GS-13 before I was wounded. Even though I'm middle-aged now and call myself a tattooed, whiskey-drinking, bearded bastard, I stay very fit and continue to follow my passions of hunting, fishing, and enjoying God's great outdoors. I've been a long-time hunter of white-tailed deer with both bow and rifle, and been fortunate enough to harvest a 168-inch buck with my bow in Ohio, my largest to date. It's a beauty buck, man. I've also been fortunate to harvest many large bucks in heavily hunted areas that normally don't produce mature animals. My friends have said I could kill large bucks in the Walmart parking lot as a joke. I've been trained as a man tracker and observed the little things often overlooked by the vast majority of people. In all my years of hunting animals well off the beaten path, and as a hunter of gunmen in the Middle East, attention to detail and situational awareness is critical for success. I've always trusted my gut, our sixth sense, and learned to tune in because of my physiological response to my surroundings. Whether my hair is standing on end or the ringing in my ears, this physiological response has kept me alive many times in combat, knowing I was in close proximity to danger. We all have this ability, but most people don't recognize it and or downplay what our bodies are telling us. Like you, I've been sensing for a while that something is coming and we need to prepare, to be prepared. Not paranoid, but prepared. What exactly is coming, I'm not sure, but my gut is screaming at me, and I trust my instincts. In November 24, I was still hunting a tributary of Black Creek in northern Florida for feral hogs. While slipping slowly through the swamp around head-high saw palmetto bush, it was like I hit an invisible wall, and my hair stood on end and my ears started ringing. This sensation screamed fear and anger, and was more intense than any combat I've ever experienced. I immediately crouched, surveying my surroundings, and when I took the safety off my rifle, the woods in front of me, approximately 20 yards away, exploded, and something large, caps lock large, took off, smashing through the palms away from me like the likes I've never experienced. Whatever it was made a guttural noise akin to a bull alligator in mating season as it ran at an unnatural speed. Imagine a D9 bulldozer exiting through wet marsh and palmettos at close to highway speed. Holy shit. I too carry a custom-proof Research 300 Winchester Magnum rifle loaded with two 15-grain Berger bullets and found myself feeling undergunned. Holy shit, 215? In Florida? My body was screaming at me to leave immediately, and the walk out was the longest walk of my life. I fully expected to encounter danger before I made it to my truck. I never saw what the hell, and I'm glad I didn't. I've always been quasi-calm in combat, but this was far more intense than anything I've experienced. Holy shit, said 100% of our combat experience veterans. Strong pattern. Later that night, while staying in my parents' second home in a rural area not far from where I was hunting, I walked outside to let my beloved female golden retriever do her thing, and we both felt a pressure and sensed something was off. My dog's hair stood on end as well as mine. The silence was deafening, and the only thing I heard was ringing in my ears. I called my dog back to the porch, and the silence was broken by the sounds of flocks of birds calling out from the trees adjacent to the house. Steve noted that it was close to midnight, and it sounded like birds singing at the top of their lungs, but it sounded off. We, the dog and I, retreated inside and locked the door, and the rest of the night I stayed awake, armed with both my 10mm Glock, Model 20, and my 300 Win Mag rifle by my side. I've heard all the native birds and animals in my area, and never heard anything like this. I couldn't help but think it was no coincidence between what happened to me in the swamp and later that night with the bird sounds. It sounded akin to being at the parrot exhibit at a zoo. There's more to this world than we've been told, and I too absolutely believe our governments hide the truth from us, and I believe it's for nefarious reasons and them holding on to power. Again, knowledge is power, and they know that. I want to hold on to that power. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but advise anyone to stay vigilant and trust in what your body is telling you. It can and will inform you of danger. You just have to listen. Stay safe, my friend, and I hope whatever's coming, we can deal with it. Regards, RS. Yeah, me too, man. I'm right there with you. It's like we're cut from the same loaf. There's some bad shit coming. It's been brewing for a while. I know there's a lot of people out there that they're just oblivious. All the information's right there in their faces. All of it. Oh, that sun's hitting the lens. I wonder if you guys can see me all right. I better check quick. All right, sorry, you guys. I'm just going to switch up. There's nothing worse than having the sun behind the camera, right? There we go. A little better. But yeah, there's 100% wars coming, big wars coming. Who knows how out of control it's going to get. It's been brewing for quite some time, and if you look into it, listen to especially the global financial crew. I listen to intelligent senior members of society from around the globe whenever I get a chance. I listened to a German man who smoothly explained exactly what's going on in the world right now and why, basically, as an example, not only just the West, but the U.S. has to go to war right now. It's sad, it's frustrating, it's disgusting, it's gross. But yeah, the information. The people who have been in control of the information before the internet have smoothly moved along, keeping most of us ill-informed. And now that we have brave, independent journalists, people who dig and look nonstop, thank God, we have enough information to put the puzzle pieces together, don't we? But if you look at the absolute insanity that's been going on around society this past few years, it's just mind-boggling. Everything's by design, everything's intentional, without a doubt. Oh yeah, I shouldn't say bite my lip, but I firmly believe right now, for all of you out there who has been following what's going on, and trying to make sense of it, you know what I'm talking about. And for all of you who don't want to hear it, don't want to talk about it or look into it, well, I hope the punch in the face isn't too hard for you when the shit goes down. But it's coming. It is coming. Anyway, moving along. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you big time. Keep us posted with whatever you learn, all right? We're all on the same team. What's this one? God, you can mention my name. Hi, Steve. This is not to do with Sasquatch, but I'd be very grateful if you could help me. I've been looking at religion, belief, spirituality, etc. for a long time, basically since I got sober in 1998. My friends at AA said they asked God to take away their addiction, and in some cases he did, but not for me. I had to do the hard yards. I often wonder why he didn't help me. This has become my existential dilemma now. I've watched YouTubers turn to religion, specifically Christianity, when their channels have nothing to do with spirituality. It just seems to happen. Then today you said that you believed in God. I was blown away. I just had to send an email in the hope that you might tell me/us how you came to this belief. I know you're on a journey for truth, as I am. Please help me understand. Thank you, Steve, for being the man you are and allowing us to grow with you. Ann. Okay, Ann. I don't know. I don't know if I can say that he didn't help you, but you're sober, right? All of us have got to go through lessons the way we go through them. Everybody's ride's different. But the lessons, I guess we learn from our lessons, don't we? And lots of us don't. And then you carry on your path. It sounds like you've learned and you're carrying on your path. Whether it was prayers that were answered for you to get you to where you are or not, I don't know. I'd imagine, I don't know. Before I start babbling, I mean, I don't practice anything. I don't reread anything here, you guys, all right? How did I come to that conclusion? I mean, I'll admit it, I was on the fence for a long time, but I have had absolute pure evil come into my life. As an innocent boy, I had evil come into my life. And it's very confusing. It's a very confusing time, especially when those who are supposed to love and protect you at all costs don't. And you're left on your own to either sink or float in life. I should have sank numerous times myself. I'm not sure this is a pivotal moment, but I remember when my mom's monster, when he came and attacked me, and I took it a little too far probably, but he had it coming. Anyways, I got arrested for it, although that monster came and was told me flat out he was going to kill me. But anyway, everything was against me going into court that day. Everything. My lawyer even said, be prepared, you're probably not coming out those doors. And you know what? Inside my heart, my soul, my being, the only thing that I had in my mind, and I don't know where the words came from, was this is a classic example of good versus evil. And I knew I was safe. And I knew I wasn't going to go to that cage. And it was true. And I think that was possibly a pivotal moment for myself, maybe. But then as I carry on through life and I look for truth, I try to protect who I can. I listen to many intelligent people. I listen to what's going on in the world, and I listen, and I come to my own conclusions, my own assumptions, my own answers. And I believe what you were talking about is many other popular YouTube channels, other popular people in the world have come to the same conclusions, but they're doing the same thing. They're seeking truth. They're trying to make sense of all this craziness. And so far, I was talking to Sarah about this a little while ago, so far, the only story that seems to fit is the biblical story. It's the only thing that makes sense right now. And believe me, I've looked everywhere for answers nonstop. And I don't know, have I read anybody talk to me in my head or my mind? Or nope, never. But I've also, on the journey of having this YouTube channel with all these wonderful people here, and we've had the call out for prayer. And I don't know how many thousands of people reply and deliver here, but I had to accept the fact that prayer is a very huge, serious power. Right? And there's another stepping block to get to where the acceptance of God is true. It's real. The power of prayer is so real. It's been proven here numerous times. I'm starting to babble here. I'm pretty tired, but I think to answer your question, it's just I can't put it into words smoothly, I guess, on the spot here. But the power of prayer, I have learned firsthand, especially when I was dying overseas, and then I was informed of just how many churches of people were praying for me from the southern U.S. to the north of Canada at that time, and I survived. That was another indicator for me. But there's been a bunch. I guess I should say, to wind this up so I don't babble too much, there's just the clues have been thrown into my face numerous times. Although I just look at those clues and I put them on that shelf in the back of my head and I carry on through life and I look for, as soon as something else comes up that shows me is similar as what I got sitting on that shelf, and add it to it. Next thing you know, that shelf's getting real full of clues. And I guess maybe that's how I can describe it in an easier fashion is as I come across clues, and I put them on the shelf in the back of my head, and that shelf was getting pretty cluttered up with clues. But I know one thing, you can't force belief on anyone. You can't tell anybody they must believe in this. Everybody's on their own ride. You're going to have to come to those conclusions yourself, but you have to be open to everything and anything. This channel's proven that pretty smoothly, hasn't it? You have to have an open mind in this lifetime, and our minds have been intentionally closed off. Have they not? Right? Not mine. All right, I'll stop babbling. I don't even know if it made sense there. I've been running around the woods like a feral dog, and I don't practice up, and I don't pre-read, so I don't have my answers pre-thought out so I could say them smoothly. I hope it made sense there. Man, this wind is ripping. Hope it's not screaming ripping on the microphone here, you guys. I'm glad you're with us. I'm glad you're healthy. I'm glad you found your way. Hi, Steve. Please find attached 2 Yowie encounters from my family members. Sending best wishes to you and Sarah and family. Thanks for the chance to share. Kind regards, Karen Anderson. Some Yowie stories from Western Australia and the top end Northern Territory. I'm a relative newcomer to your channel, and I love listening to the shared encounters of your followers. Thanks for providing the safe and comfortable opportunity for so many to share stories that have seen them ridiculed and shunned to the point of not wanting to even talk about it. As an Indigenous person, I can say that our hunter-gatherer culture includes belief in beings that mainstream society refuses to acknowledge. Our myths and legends contain many stories of supernatural beings, including some similar big, hairy bipedal creatures. To us, these are real beings to be feared and respected. They do exist, and we are taught to be wary of them. Many of our peoples have their own name for them, but in the wider Australian population and worldwide, the name Yowie is used. I'd like to share 2 stories from people who are genuine and had nothing to gain from telling me their stories. Firstly, my mother-in-law. Her husband and nephew camped out in their vehicle in a remote national park in Darwin. During the night, she was the only one to wake to the sound of heavy breathing and footsteps outside. Also, there was such a sickening stench in the air that she was gagging whilst trying to remain silent. A moment of terror came as she realized the creature was watching her. It had leaned down to look in. She cuddled the small child closer, closed her eyes tightly, and prayed. The car shook. Then a huge shadow passed by, and the sounds of their supplies being rifled through could be heard. As she recounted the story to her husband, she was in disbelief until he saw for himself the large handprint on the window on her side. The huge human-like footprints in the mud, and the campsite looking like a bomb had hit it. They never returned to that park, and their camping days were over. Oh, no doubt. No doubt. So maybe look, see if there's any blowdowns ready to hit me in this angle. I don't think so. I always got a bit of a fear getting hit by a tree when it's windy in the timber. Secondly, my brother was part of a hunting trip in the traditional lands near the remote Warburton Ranges, which lie between 2 large deserts. The people in this area tell stories of the Jungara. One of the stories warns children to be in camp before dark and never follow the sound of voices calling their names to lead them away from camp. The Jungara are great mimics and can make a child believe that their mother or father is calling them. Any children who wander off are never seen again. The people believe that the Jungara eats them. My brother recounted that they had a successful hunt with the meat of many kangaroos to be shared amongst the local community. He mentioned that the hunters slept well that night after skinning and hanging their bounty in nearby trees. In the early hours, he became aware of a presence towering over him as he lay in his sleeping bag. He was frozen in fear as he pretended to be asleep, but watched through squinted eyes as that huge creature removed all the kangaroos from the branches, threw them over his shoulders, and easily carried them off. They never hunted that in that area again. And all felt lucky, as if the Jungara, sorry, I just forgot the pronunciation. The Jungara, sorry you guys. As if the Jungara had accepted their offering and allowed them to live. Karen Anderson, Gungara, Western Australia. Wow, that's pretty terrifying, Karen. Now, I wonder what, you know what, just having a rational thought here. You know, all across the world, all around the world, we're taught as children to don't be outside in the dark. Get the children inside. Don't let them leave camp at night or they're going to disappear. All right, that's a huge pattern in all cultures all around the world. But what I'm curious about is well, what's stopping them from going in camp and taking people? I don't get that part. Is there a force field around a camp? Do you know what I mean? Is there a force field around a house built out of plywood and plaster and 2x4s? Do you know what I mean? That's such an odd thing for me to think about. We're all taught to be inside before dark or they're gonna get you. Why don't they just come in the house? Why don't they just walk in camp, grab that tent like a frickin' sack of flour and pick everybody up in it and over the shoulder and off they go, like they did Albert Ostman. Do you know what I mean? There's just so many weird rules going on that I don't understand, that these non-human beings seem to abide to. I don't get it. I don't get it. Weird, isn't it? There's so much weird going on. So much weird going on. Oh, I appreciate you sending that to me. Big time, Karen. Be safe down there and keep us posted on any more knowledge you might have that you want to swing our way, 'cause we're all over it. Excuse me. This next email, these are all fresh out of the pan, by the way. Dogman/werewolf question mark. Even 3 I am 6 I. The number 3 followed by I am, and then the number 6 with an I, comma. I still am in control of thoughts and whatnot. I thought of 2 things I encountered back in the late 70s. I thought of this after hearing what the military man said. I worked in the ER at the local hospital and we were not in a metro area. I was given that full moon Friday or Saturday night. Sorry, it was a given that a full moon Friday or Saturday night meant babies being born, heart attacks, and some very interesting weirdos. Well, one of these weirdos was an elderly man from a very remote, tiny community. He was turning into a werewolf and howling and making us goofball young'uns laugh. He did seem a bit more hairy when he was admitted. Well, years later in the middle 80s, I worked for the government. Please don't judge me, but there's a grave in a little town not far from the werewolves community. On her headstone was that she was killed by wolves. I always thought it was a metaphor for something other than literal wolves. And real wolves were wiped out in our county and state a long time ago, Oklahoma. Now I'm wondering what may be down there. I'm a chicken anyway, but now I think there's no place like home. I emailed previous about Mom and I seeing a Sasquatch alongside of a dark country road and being raised with some Indian ways. We're forbidden to whistle after dark. And since you didn't question your elders, nobody asked why, LOL. There you go. Well, that sounds pretty crazy. A man in the hospital claiming to be changing into a werewolf, a hairy dude. Wow. Appreciate that email. And I just have a note here I wrote down yesterday. I forgot to mention this to you guys. You're not going to believe this one. Listen to this. So, Sarah, do you guys recall over a week ago I'm at home and I found 2 eagle feathers just right there on the floor in my hay barn. 2 eagle feathers. And then Sarah had an eagle feather in the chicken coop, in the hens. the laying coop, which is completely sealed off. I got that sucker sealed off. Nothing can land in there. You wouldn't be able to drop an eagle feather. If you dropped an eagle feather from the sky, it wouldn't make it into the chicken coop pen. And now that I've been gone, so there was an eagle feather on the floor in the coop when she went in to get the eggs. The only thing that's open during the day is the door for the chicken coop, okay? Follow me. Well, since I've been gone, just the other day, she has gone into the chicken coop, and there's been 3 different days, 3 more eagle feathers left in the chicken coop. What? There you go. Have at it with your explanations. I'm the messenger. I'm just sharing with everybody what's going on in our crazy lives. That's all I can do. Tell you what happened, I offer up no explanation. But there you go. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eagle feathers total left between the inside the chicken coop and way across the other end of the property in my hay barn. And no, I don't think there's anything bad going on with that. And that's, I swear on my life, that is the honest to God truth, what's going on in our house. What do we got here? Chase, Port Alberni. Oh, Ria's Chase, Port Alberni. Right at home. Hi Steve, been following your channel for a few years now. I started following you, watching you hunt blacktails, and that's when I subscribed to you. Anyway, that's not the point. So, growing up around my dad and grandpa in the bush, I heard a lot about Sasquatch. I never got any real stories out of my grandpa, as he passed before I was old enough to understand what I was interested in. Anyway, a few years later, my father had zero doubt in his mind about Sasquatch towards me, yet never shared any stories with me. But I really think he had something he was holding from me, like he was holding something back, so I wasn't scared to keep hunting, kind of thing. A few months later, I was trolling 40 feet from the shoreline in Great Central Lake, and I was with a friend. And we had music really loud, but we were in the middle of absolutely nowhere, and I'm pretty sure you know Great Central area. And we were way up past Boy Scouts camp on the side of the lake you can't drive to, and I had my boat speakers playing music so loud, and my friend and I looked at each other, and I turned the loud music off, and we heard tree knocks. I would not have even thought anything about this, but we both heard it and looked at each other, and we heard probably 5 knocks after the music was off. And I swear, no normal-sized being could make that noise like I heard. It was something beating on a tree, but they could hold on to a log that had to be 5 inches in diameter to make the brute force noise it was making against the tree. We heard probably, like I said, 5 or 6 good smacks. Like if you did it with a baseball bat, the bat would break. But if you did it with a big log, it would vibrate so bad and not make much noise. But it was insanely loud. We just felt a weird feeling like someone was telling us off. There's no way anyone could or would be where this happened. Share that half of my story as it's mine if you'd like. But this isn't my story. I'm just passing it off to you. So anyways, I'm from Port Alberni, and I've had a spot at the Ark Resort campsite at the head of Great Central. Hence why I was down the lake when that happened. And I've spent so much time hunting and fishing on my own around here. Anyways, Alright, sorry guys, I had to edit that out. He told me another story attached to it, but then he said at the end, please don't repeat the last half. And this email sounds really familiar. Possibly from a long time ago. But everybody knows I lost 2,500 emails that I had marked. I had copied to put in my notes, and then I lost that phone, whatever happened, and I got it wiped. So that means there's 2,500 emails in my inboxes that were marked as read, but they may not have been shared. Okay, so that's why I'm screwing up a lot lately. Apologies. Okay, I don't know what this is about, but I'm going in. Yeah, there's a lot that goes on around Great Central. There's a lot that goes on around Port Alberni nonstop. Just is, always will be. It's a wild place. Hand down, rinse, and repeat. I hope this finds you well in fishing. The mythologies are everywhere. I think denial and paradigm shattering will give bioelectric humans a chance of freedom and not the freedom we've been living in. It's best to relate with a storyline and pattern that always appears. The so-called gods that tablets have shown aren't gods at all. They came from a different planet and required slavery to mine gold, copper, etc.